WMMS and iHeartRadio teaming up for a special event to support healthcare workers and the World Health Organization on Saturday night. You'll be able to watch it on the networks, ABC, NBC, or CBS. It is Saturday night at 8 o'clock. On the radio, it'll be across the hall at 96.5 KISS FM. Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, and Stephen Colbert are hosting the Together at Home event. Billie Eilish, Billie Joe Armstrong. Are these people who... I feel like a lot of these things have the same 4 or 5 people in them. There's Elton John's doing all of them. Billie Joe Armstrong's doing all. Billie Eilish. These guys have like pandemic contracts or what's going on? Alanis Morissette is part of this one. Eddie Vedder is new. Lady Gaga. Paul McCartney. He's over in London. I think his wife is here and he's there, sheltering in place.
Who's his wife now?
Nancy somebody?
Because he had Linda.
Yep.
He had the
one-legged girl, Heather Mills.
One
was his
leg?
wife. Yeah.
You know about that?
No!
Heather Mills was his wife with one
Who can
leg.
keep up with these rock stars and their wives? Like, especially when you live that long, I think it's...
You've kept up with way more esoteric stuff than
They're
Paul
young.
McCartney's wife.
They're young, though. But
What do you mean?
Like, the people I keep up with, like, the reality shows that I watch, like Basketball Wives and stuff like that.
Well, no, I know. What I'm saying
These
is...
people are my age.
I'm not saying you
or
had to know
older.
when he was married to her, but yeah, his ex-wife had one leg.
Yeah. I just
Something
think,
like a motorcycle accident or something.
I still think that's a sign of wealth. Like, the more ex-wives you have... You know how, like, when the slave owners used to have, like, the cabins in the front yard to show how wealthy they were? I feel like the same thing with ex-wives.
Yeah, but the slaves weren't suing them for palimony or alimony or child support.
But they have it. That's the thing. Like, you get married again and divorced again?
It's more a sign of diminishing wealth.
I think that's cool. Like someone who,
Cool.
if I meet someone who has 8 ex-wives, I'm like, oh my God, you're loaded. And like he's on number 9.
There are plenty of guys who have gotten married multiple times and they have no money.
No, not just married multiple times, married and then divorced. Like,
Well, you have to get divorced to get married multiple times.
I just,
You can't do one without the other.
I think that's cool.
Depending on
Unless
your
you're in
religion.
Utah.
Especially if you got kids with them. Ooh, that's even better. I'm like, wow, you're just a bank.
Spoken like a single guy.
I know.
Jesus, a single gay man
I was like,
who will
yeah,
never have to
keep
worry
me
about
out.
an ex-wife or children or anything like
The
that.
people that read my article and they're like, dude, shut up about being single. They're like, I don't want to hear it. They're like, I have no paycheck and I have, 2 mouths to feed plus my wife and because she's a stay-at-home mom. I'm like,
Well, that
I'm
again,
sorry.
that's why that's why we specifically are in weird territory with the audience right now. Because there's a lot of the people in our audience who are working and a lot of them who aren't. And we are. So we're in a weird spot where we kind of we mentioned this yesterday. We talk about our lives and whatever that entails. And it might sound frivolous to some people.
Yeah.
But they can't get mad at me. I live in a room.
They can get mad at you.
People got mad at me. I lived in the ground.
I have half my wardrobe in my trunk. Okay.
But you are not responsible for anyone else besides you.
Yeah.
Is the point. It's not about where you live or where your clothes are being kept. It's that if everything melted down tomorrow, you grab a bag and you're out and you're good to go.
You could live in your car.
You're a guy like me. I got kids in another state I haven't seen for a couple of months. In person. You know what I mean? I'm married. I got a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
So there's a part of your brain that goes, man, if everything was to explode tomorrow, I'd have a whole lot on my plate. Mm-hmm. So when people get mad at you, it's not because you live in a mansion. It's not because you live in a room. It's because you're only responsible for yourself.
I just keep thinking of that Timberland song. It's like, I ain't got a big old house. I run a room in a house. Like, that's me.
I have 3 plants now, so...
Yeah, I was reading a thing this morning that like places that sell plants they're stacking cash because people are just buying plants left and right.
About
I went
3.
around and watered all the plants that are on people's desks today.
Aw, look at you.
Because and then there's a few like company plants that were looking pretty bad too. I'm like, no one's been paying attention to these at all.
Right.
Is that what you were doing when I saw you earlier? Mm-hmm. I was like, what are you doing on the dark side of the building? I know he wasn't running the programming, so I was like,
We're watering
I
the
was
plants.
just watering the plants because there's
How
some
sweet.
plants that are not looking too good and they need a little help.
I actually took a
That's
page...
what Bill calls having to take a whiz. He was
Watering the
watering the plants
plants.
over on
Oh,
the
yeah.
sales side.
Plants like pea, right?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
It's mostly water.
Oh my God, there's nothing acidic or anything. Oh, it's fine.
Erica would always post a Thirsty Thursday of her watering her plants, and then that's the day of the week I pick to water my plants because I'm like, that makes sense. Like, you're thirsty. The plants are probably thirsty. It's Thursday.
I was actually texting with her earlier today, and I was showing her a picture of my bedroom because we painted it purple. And she's like, "Oh, you even have plants in there?" I'm like, "Yeah, Grandma got me some plants, and I'm making sure that they don't die, and I'm really growing up." And she's like, "I'm very proud of you."
Yeah.
I should have let those sales plants die.
Why?
Such a good sentence. You looked like almost upset about it. You should let those sales plants die.
Yeah, you should have, because it's
Why?
more symbolic of the atmosphere around here.
They made me sad though.
Well.
And they still might
Take them
die.
home.
They might
Keep them.
not.
Take them home then. If you're so sad.
They might
Load
not
them in your
recover.
car, Bill.
Squire Nursery.
Yeah.
It's not the right kind of plants for my place.
How do you know?
Well, because like the ones that I watered, because the only sales ones that were needing watered were not even sales, like sales assistant. It's like the long, like viney ones. I don't have a spot for that.
They have to thrive under fluorescent lights for one thing.
Right.
That's why I have a single succulent on my desk.
But then there's some
Nothing else can live in this place.
big ass floor plants that one is just like
I thought those were fake.
dead. No, they're dead. And one's dead for sure. And then the others look not great. And I'm like,
corpse
okay,
tree
somebody
around
needs
here.
to do something here.
Yeah.
So I watered them.
Good job.
Plant saver.
Way to take initiative.
This isn't a growing hospital. You don't have to let those plants live.
A nursery. Alan, I've been married 0 times and I have 0 money. That's another. There are so many different permutations. It's just that it's so much easier to not have much money if you are a single person. Sucks. We've all been there. I was dirt poor most of my adult life. But when you get married, and again,
And now you're getting
that's
$70 pizza.
That's
Like
your
it ain't
decision.
Nothing.
That's your decision to make, right? To get married and to do those things and to have children.
Yeah.
So it's no one's fault, obviously. It's just an extraordinarily different situation. So, Alan, I still to this day admire Mary. Not sure how many mornings I've driven to work drunk or I've woken up next to strangers, read regrettable texts, damaged people. It's a struggle.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's tough. One day you'll get tired of your own BS. I tell people will reach out to me on Instagram. How did you know it was time to stop? It's like you're gonna get fed up with just dealing with problems that you created for yourself. There's no one else to blame.
Right.
Like, damn it, all the time with this mayor. Come on, man. Just one day. I want to live without this issue in my head.
Do you
Just
think,
one day.
Do you think if you had just stayed doing like the road and bartending that you would have stopped?
Yeah.
You think you don't think this show had something to do with it?
This show actually had a lot to do with it,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, because, not a lot, but a good amount, because it was getting to a point where I had been on air with you guys enough that people would kind of recognize me out, or listeners would be like, oh, hey, from the, and I would be worried about blacking out and doing something and damaging the reputation of the show and being like,
Oh, don't worry. This show has no reputation.
Right, I know, but I mean,
But
it
you
was
also
still, like,
probably wouldn't have kept the gig that long if you'd
Right.
been blacking out and not showing up or
and,
whatever.
right, or
yeah.
hungover, drunk on air, or like
Right.
cussing people out, and then they're like, "Hey, man," like that would be the last thing I would need is for them to call up our bosses and be like, "This person who's toting around saying she's on your show and blacking out, throwing up all over the place."
That
like,
would have been awesome.
It's
People
like
call the
this-
show, Alan, Mary like threw a can of soup at my head last night. They're like, tell me more.
Soup can Mary at it again.
That's right. She's not here to defend herself. She's laying in the alley somewhere.
She defends herself like a hobo.
Get out of here.
So we're eating beans. But that definitely played a part in it for
Okay.
sure.
Kenny in Rochester, New York says, I drive all day for work and you guys make the day go by quickly. P.S. I hate Poundcake. Listen, you can't win them all. I don't know what to tell you. You know what might turn your head, Kenny from Rochester, New York? The new Poundcake at AlanCoxShow.com. It's called Be Kind.
See?
Maybe you could use a little of that medicine.
I think
Kenny
so.
from Rochester. Governor Mike DeWine says that Ohio will begin to reopen May 1st.
Okay. Light at the end of the tunnel.
I'm waiting for something.
What are you waiting for?
Alan, he's got just the look
No.
on his face.
He
Nope.
doesn't believe it. He thinks we're going to be locked out
Ohio
till
Governor
October.
Mike,
I heard him say it.
I'm not predicting anything, okay? No, I'm not. Listen, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine plans to begin reopening Ohio on May 1st. He said Thursday. That's the first line, Cleveland.com.
What does that mean?
Listen, there is so much unbelievable pressure on these governors to get people doing something again, and I fully understand it. It's just one of these things, man. First of all, the president does not care at all. He doesn't care if people are dying, does not care. Just wants things open. The governors have to contend with their state, with people dying and getting pressure from the chambers of commerce and things like that. So I fully understand that. Nobody knows what's coming. You just don't know. But you talk to any of the scientists, and they're like, look, we get it too. We're just saying scientifically, this is a really bad idea. It's a really bad idea because you don't have anything in place that you would need. You're not even close to having the things in place you need to reopen
Or
things.
enough tests.
So they're like, we're going to do. So that's what all these people all these Republicans who are like, just let's throw the doors open and let the chips fall where they may, are like, well, if we test and we do this, like, yeah, right. If we did all those things, that would be great. But we're not doing all those things. So just rattling off the things that we should be doing is not a plan. We know what the plan is. The stuff that we should be doing and we're not doing. Antibody testing. That's your key to reopening the country. They're not doing enough of that. So, listen, Mike DeWine has been a pretty good shepherd through this whole thing. We'll see, but the pressure on this guy is immense.
What businesses may reopen? Like what?
Andrew Cuomo has already extended the New York State shutdown for another month. He's going until May 15th because they have over 12,000 people dead. He had to go on TV because he's getting so much crap from right-wingers. He's like, look, God didn't do this, all right? We are seeing things start to dip because of what we are doing, not because of what God's doing. So stop with all that nonsense.
Our behavior has stopped the spread of the virus. God did not stop the spread of the virus. And what we do, how we act, will dictate how that virus spreads.
He's like, look, the things that we're doing, right? The data we're using. It's not fate. It's not destiny, whatever. So I don't know how Mike DeWine plans to do this, but he said, we got to restart something because there are all these other health issues that come from being unemployed. There's homelessness, there's drug use, there's just
another overdose last night.
So many things, a lot of unintended consequences that you can't see coming. So many things that are going to come from this, financially and health-wise, and oof.
That hotel that's on my street has an ambulance in it every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, and they're just carting people out. Yep.
So he said they're talking about safeguards for companies where employees will return to work, taking temperatures, wearing masks, wiping surfaces. We don't do contact tracing, so you don't know who's got what, and, so they take your temperature. This is what they're doing in other countries. You want to walk in anywhere, they're taking your temperature. Yeah. It just depends on how much people are willing to put up with, I guess.
Yeah, but I also saw that you can be even more contagious before the symptoms start showing up. So you can,
asymptomatic people can give it to other people. But, we've known that the whole time, though.
Right. No. But I'm saying they just did a study that they released today that I heard this on the news earlier where they said someone that gets sick may have been more contagious 2 days before they actually got sick.
I see.
So they had the coronavirus for 2 days, and then it kicks in the third day. But those 2 days leading up to it, they're very contagious.
And that's why
we don't know enough about it.
You don't, and that you just don't, because they're like the data and the information, the decisions that have been made along the way at the local and the regional level are ones that have been made in conjunction with the information they had. And if that's constantly changing, then you're like, oh, it turns out you shouldn't do this. Oh, you should do this. Yeah. Man, you can't keep the country closed indefinitely under circumstances.
What are some businesses that you think they could reopen, as they say?
Like the least... problematic?
Yeah.
7-Eleven.
Well, I was going to say places where people, I don't think they're going to open bars and restaurants right away.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
I would say salons and barbershops, things where there's not going to be...
Where they can control the amount of people that are in there. They can keep it a pretty sterile environment. I was thinking things like that, salons.
Yeah, but they could also do it
shops,
when restaurants begin to be a thing again. That's going to be tough for them, too, because you're going to be like... We can only have 10 people in here.
Yeah.
You can't have a packed town hall on West 25th. Yeah, they're like
waiting in line.
You can have nobody's gonna wait in line.
People will wait in line.
People will wait in line.
Yes, they will. People are irresponsible. Alan, what do you think about?
You're going to wait in a line on West 25th. God bless Town Hall. I've had many a lunch there, and it's delicious. But just to use them as an example.
I'm not.
You're going to wait 6 feet apart from somebody else on a sidewalk to get in and have lunch somewhere?
They're like, they are desperate to get out of the house, and they're like, oh my gosh, like I can just sit here. I can take an hour of my day.
And stand on the sidewalk?
People do that to buy shoes and stuff.
Yeah, for 45 minutes to have a mimosa
you
again.
get shoes at the end.
You get lunch at the end.
Yeah.
You get out of the house for a couple hours.
Yeah, you sit in the summer air or
yeah, it'll be nicer out. Patios open.
I'm telling you, Alan. Alan, what do you think about the sailor that passed away on the Navy ship?
What do you mean, what do I think about it?
I mean, do you have anything to say about it? Because, I mean, I think it's a cover-up, obviously, because it was headline news for like a day, and then it just went away.
What do you think about it?
Well, it's not a cover-up, but that skipper of that ship was the one who got fired for saying, well, I got sick kids on this boat.
Yeah.
And they fired him because they didn't want anybody knowing about it. But then you have a death, and you're not going to keep that under the rug.
Yeah, and then like they're not reporting on it anymore. I was waiting for.
It's because there's a flurry of information that's coming from every possible direction.
I was waiting
every
for
day.
like they got rid of, they're moving everybody off the boat. Like, the safety of our sailors is of top priority. I was waiting for that stuff, and I saw nothing.
Maybe it was on page 19. I don't know. Some things are buried now, and I don't know. It doesn't necessarily mean there's a cover-up. It just means that not everything can be above the fold every single day.
True.
So I don't know how Mike DeWine's going to do it. I mean, they've got a plan in place, but they're talking about like barriers and distancing. And I mean, there was a goddamn protest in Columbus. Everybody's seen the photo now that looks like 28 days later with these mooks in MAGA hats pushing their face against the glass. So you got those people out there in Lansing, Michigan.
I was in Michigan, too.
They had Operation Gridlock. Where's people lining up to protest and go stand in a big crowd and yell at the governor or whatever? It's like, the governor's going, do you morons not realize that being here in a crowd means that I might have to extend this whole thing now?
Because
you
of
dopes
you.
don't get.
Yeah.
I mean, look, man.
Operation Gridlock in Lansing. You can see the people here lined up as far as you can see on the highway, all trying to get to the Capitol for this big protest.
They're not.
There are so many cars, trucks, people have boats. But look at this. Look at this. They're waving here. But look at how backed up the traffic is.
Boy, this guy is fascinated. Whoever this reporter is just, he is fascinated by, So on the one hand, where the scientists go, look, this is a bad idea, you got stuff like that where people are like, I got to work, man. And I understand. So governors are under immense pressure to go, look, we are going to have a goddamn riot on our hands if we can't figure something out. So it's going to be... It's not ideal.
You know what, though? I mean, for our specific situation, I mean, we've been ahead on everything. So I'm not saying that reopening things would lead to a huge spike or anything like that, but we've been...
It will, though.
And people coming in from other states.
If it's done the same way that it's done in grocery stores, you can go have lunch. You have to sit 6 feet away from each other or 2 people to a table. But that's what I'm saying.
Well, we'll see. We're going to see. We're going to find out.
How is it any different than going grocery shopping?
Well, first of
because
all,
you're staying there for an extended period of time.
And you're
it takes about an hour to go grocery shopping.
You're touching
It doesn't take-
silverware and glasses.
glasses,
I mean, who
tips,
knows?
money, the money that you use. People aren't going to have a mask and gloves at dinner. They're just not.
Unless they make you.
That's what I'm saying.
But how could you eat then?
Take it out to eat.
I can
but-
eat with rubber gloves on. I prefer to eat, frankly, with rubber gloves
and
on.
nothing else.
Restaurants
Do
and
it like
bars will be
pie
black.
eating contest. It's simple.
That's right.
You just put the food in front of you. You smash your face down in it. You eat as much as you can, and then you leave.
I think
All future restaurant entrees should be served in competition style eating, right? No silverware, just whatever and so choose wisely off the menu because you're going to be eating it by smashing your face into it, and you will be timed as well because we got to get you
Also,
out. Turnover is very important in the restaurant business.
Other simple things they can do. You get you get like a little plastic portable shower, and you do like the jailhouse shower when they're bringing you into the prison.
Yeah.
They throw that powder on you.
Yep. Like
they-
Karen Silkwood, or
Yeah.
like you're coming out of Chernobyl.
Yeah, so they give you that shower when you go in, and then you get another one on your way out. No problem.
Yeah.
That way you're disinfected.
This seems too soon for someone who does
It is
desperately want to see
absolutely
it.
too soon.
We're getting
I
rid
feel
of
like-
all the work all the progress we made.
It is
And I feel like
absolutely
people are-
It's all
too
for
soon.
nothing.
They're just now getting used to that too, like waiting in
can't-
line, and they're like, okay, this is kind of we get what's going on, and we understand why this is important. Like even 2 extra weeks.
Well,
like,
listen, there are two competing things, but they still coexist. They cannot just shut the economy down. On the other hand, you're going to have places that are open, and you're still going to have people going, no, I'm good.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not like as soon as things start to open, people are going to rush into these places.
But it's 50-50 too, though. You're going to have people who are, I mean, like me, who are like, I miss people. I want to be out. I want, you know what I mean?
I ain't leaving the house till Labor Day.
Natural
so
selection,
I
man.
don't care. But he's got to do something, and this is what he's going to do. So we'll see. We will see.
Just give us more free money.
Hope for the best. Well, that's what they're trying to do. You can thank Democrats for those checks.
Give me
Republicans would have let the world burn.
More money.
More money, more problems. Haven't you heard? You got more money and there's more problems. I believe
For
that's the
them.
song. More money, more problems.
That's for rich people. Give me my check.
the
Less
more money,
more problems.
less money. I'd say less money, fewer problems.
I'm a worker
Listen,
bee.
you're gonna have some problems. You're gonna have some money.
That's Debbie Diggler.
Debbie Dirt Diggler.
Oh, Dirt Diggler. I
Diddler.
apologize.
Dirt Diddler.
Debbie
Yep.
Dirt Diddler.
Some money, some problems. All right, let me break. Hey, next shot for you to get yourself some money. See how many problems you develop with $1,000. That's coming up at 4:30.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS. And everywhere you go on our free iHeartRadio.